How did Leslie Howard become such a big Hollywood movie star? Find out as we go down the nostalgia road. Leslie Howard Steiner was born to a British mom, Nee Bloomberg, and a Hungarian Jewish father, Ferdinand Steiner, in Upper Norwood, London. Arthur Howard, an actor, was his younger sibling. Lillian's paternal grandfather, Ludwig Bloomberg, was a Jewish businessman from East Prussia who had married into the English upper middle class. Thus, although she was reared as a Christian, she had Jewish heritage. He attended London Allen School for his official schooling. Howard's name appears as Steiner on official papers, like his service records, but the family anglicized his name to Steiner during the time of World War I. When World War I broke out, he was working as a bank clerk in Dulwich at the age of 21. In September 1914, he enrolled as a private with the British Army's Inn of Court Officer Training Corps in London, giving his real name as Leslie Howard Steiner. He joined up in February 1915 and trained with them in England until May 19, 1916, when he renounced his commission and was medically dismissed from the British Army. It was reported in the London Gazette that Howard, previously known as Steiner, had legally changed his name to Howard in March of 1920. Early in his career, Howard appeared in regional productions of Peg O' My Heart and Charlie's Aunt before making his London stage debut in 1917. However, he had his greatest success on Broadway with plays like Aren't We All? 1923, Outward Bound 24, and Green Hat 25. Her Cardboard Lover catapulted him to Broadway superstardom in 1927. Howard began his career in Hollywood with the film adaptation of Outward Bound 1929 after his role as time traveler Peter Standish in Berkeley Square 29 was well received, but he didn't enjoy the experience and promised he would never return to Hollywood again. When he came back numerous times, including the film adaptation of Berkeley Square from 1933, in which he played Standish again. I love learning about all the films because I like to go and try to find them myself to watch them. I always like to discover new shows. What about you? Tell me in the comments. But performing was still a major aspect of life and work. Howard regularly appeared in Broadway musicals, in which he also served as producer and director. Howard's own play, Murray Hill, was produced on Broadway, and he starred in it in 1927. His breakthrough role as a serious actor came in the 1927 Broadway production of Escape, in which he played Matt Dennant. His subsequent theatrical successes with The Animal Kingdom, 1932, you might know The Petrified Forest in 1934, extended his record of success. When the films were made, he played both parts again. Howard was passionate about taking on Shakespearean roles, although producer John Houseman claimed he was sometimes sloppy when it came to memorizing lines. He originally gained widespread attention in the title role of Romeo and Juliet, 1936. Hamlet, 1936, starring him, opened on Broadway a few weeks after John Gielgud's competing version of the same play, which was a huge critical and commercial success. Howard's final theater role had a short run of only 39 appearances, making it in the movies. In 1920, Howard proposed to his friend Adrian Brunel the idea of starting a film production firm called British Comedy Films. After much back and forth, they decided to call their company Minerva Films. Howard, Brunel, and C. Aubrey Smith, Nigel Playfair, and A.A. Milne all served on the board of directors for the corporation. In this case, H.G. Wells was one of the company's investors. A.A. Milne's scripts for the films made by Minerva earned positive reviews from reviewers, but the firm was not successful since it was only given £200 each picture. and it cost £1,000 to make. The Bump, starring C. Aubrey Smith, Twice Two, £5 Reward, and Bookworms, both starring Howard, are four of A. Milne's first screenplays. The British Film Institute has copies of these movies preserved in its vaults. Howard frequently portrayed prim Englishmen in films shot in Britain and Hollywood. On film, he had a different character than the one he had on Broadway in Outward Bound, although he was still a part of the cast. In the film Free Soul, 1931, starring Lionel Barrymore, Norma Shear, and Clark Gable 6 years before the release of Gone with the Wind, he shared the screen with Shear and got the second billing behind her. Berkeley Square, 1933, in which he starred, earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. In 1934, The Scarlet Pimpernel, in which he also starred, he gave what is widely regarded as the quintessential performance of the character. After working with Bette Davis in the film adaptation of W. Somerset Maugham's book of Human Bondage, 1934, Howard allegedly asked that Humphrey Bogart reprise his role as mobster Duke Manty in the 1936 picture The Petrified Forest. Bogart's career in the movie was revitalized, and he and Howard became lifelong friends. In fact, Bogart and Lauren Bacall honored Howard with the name of their daughter, Leslie Howard Bogart. The cinematic adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, in which Howard and Norma Shear appeared, was released the same year in 1936. It's Love I'm After, 1937, a romantic comedy, featured Howard and Davis once more in the same roles, also co-starring Olivia de Havilland. Another Oscar nomination for Best Actor came Howard's way for his portrayal as Professor Henry Higgins in the film adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's play Pygmalion, 1938, which also starred Wendy Hiller as Eliza. Before war broke out, Howard starred in Intermezzo with Ingrid Bergman. The following August, he made up his mind to move back to the nation of his birth. He wanted to do this for the war effort, but also had to give up £20,000 in assets in the United States before leaving the country, so his plans for a new picture fell through. Howard's last American picture, Gone with the Wind, may have cemented his legacy, but he was unhappy in Hollywood and returned to Britain to support the war effort before World War II. During World War II, he starred in many films, including 49th Parallel, 1941, Pimpernel Smith, 41, and the first of the few, 42, or Spitfire in the United States. David Niven, Howard's friend and co-star in the first of the few, noted that Howard had a deceptive appearance. Not what he seemed. He had the kind of distraught air that would make people want to mother him. Actually, he was about as naive as General Motors. Busy little brain, always going. We want to thank you for tuning in and traveling down the nostalgia road with us. We love nostalgia, and we're so glad you're a part of our family.